بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. Dear brothers and sisters, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Thank you, Brother Shahran, for this very big introduction. I think that's okay for him. Only for him. So, brothers and sisters, today we will discuss together one of the most important topics or themes or most important issues that the Ummah is facing. This university here stands for a philosophy, a vision, a mission, which is summarized into what we call Islamization of knowledge. This is why it is very important, very crucial for the development of any new Islamic educational system to understand what does Islamization and integration of knowledge means. It is very important. I will explain to you. I try to make it simple. In fact, in the PowerPoint here, I made it complicated, but I will make it simple for you. Brothers and sisters, we will try to have discussion together. It will not be like one-way jalan, but we discuss together what is Islamization of knowledge and how this Islamization of knowledge as a concept, as a theory, as a framework, as a new epistemology of knowledge, how we articulate or integrate it as a process in a university, in our schools, in our universities. Because we can keep talking about Islamization as a concept, as theory, as epistemology. We can talk a lot. There is a lot of thinking. But the challenge is how you translate this into curriculum, into education, into processes, into making education and knowledge and learning based on the framework of Islamization of knowledge. So, brothers and sisters, means before, first thing we need to do is to understand what is it, then to understand how we translate it into real practical aspect, and then we see how we monitor and see the impact of Islamization of knowledge. Because if you have a theory or idea or concept or a new framework and you want to implement it but no impact, no products, people cannot see what is it. So brothers and sisters, in Islamization of knowledge, we need to look at it as a process. Means you have the input, you have the process, you have the output. What is it? You know what should be the output of Islamization of knowledge? What should be the impact of Islamization of knowledge? It must be a new, different educational system, which is integrated and value-based. And value-based, because that's the element which Islamic worldview is adding to the contemporary knowledge. Okay, so brothers and sisters, we need to understand. That's why I need to ask you, after 2 days of this workshop, and you have seen, according to the program, implementation of Islamization in economics, in creative thinking, in psychology, in sociology, in other aspects. Any one of you here can, in his own words, in Bahasa or in English, tell me what is Islamization of knowledge? Let's see together. What is Islamization of knowledge? Because if we don't know what is Islamization of knowledge, it will be very difficult for us to tell people what is it. It will be difficult to implement it. The more you know something, the better is your chance to understand it and implement it. But if you go and ask people, what is Islamization? You will not find two people saying the same thing. Okay, let's try. Any one of the great scholars here, anyone can tell me, what do you gather, even before you come to this workshop? To you, what is Islamization of knowledge? ما معنى إسلامية المعرفة؟ إسلامية العلوم. In Sudan, they say إسلام العلوم. إسلام العلوم. In the Middle East, the Saudi and this, they say تأصيل العلوم. تأصيل المعرفة. تأصيل. They don't use the term Islamization. إسلامية المعرفة. Maybe it's sensitive in some places. They don't want Islamization. To them is equated to radicalism, conservatism. But in the Malay world here, Nusantara, تأدى مسألة. They can use Islamization of knowledge, integration of knowledge, but there it's really different. So there are many terms we use to talk about the same concept, like تأصيل العلوم, like توجيه العلوم. توجيه العلوم means orientation or Islamic orientation of knowledge. So brothers and sisters, anyone can help me? Go ahead, brother. Let's see what is Islamization of knowledge.
My name is Yusuf.
Yes.
This is just my personal view. Should I stand?
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
So I studied economics and at first degree and master's degree in the US.
Okay.
So this is so after graduating, I found out that all this economics, which was founded in the 16th century, and other disciplines, they come from the Western country. They start from the Western country. What I found is that most of the ulum, the knowledge taught in the Western countries, they separate. They separate. The way they think is religion is separate from the knowledge.
Go ahead, I'm following.
So the secular view is all the religion, economics, science, or any knowledge, they separate from the religion, separate themselves from the God. So that's I think. No, I feel different. So I just continue. So we call conventional knowledge, or some people call it secular knowledge. At Unisham we call non-Islamic knowledge, but it's not kafir knowledge. Just joking. So that's the term that we use. So the knowledge that we got, some of us learn in the Western countries, some of learn from the local countries, we call conventional knowledge, which separates the knowledge from God. I think this is not non-Islamic. We cannot say kafir. We cannot say economics is kafir knowledge, but it's just secular. Means they stop at the knowledge and without relating to the purpose of life as we perceive the worldview, the purpose of the Islamic worldview. So the Islamization of knowledge is to look back at the conventional knowledge, and we do not stop at this world. We continue to the hereafter. For example, economics, utility maximization. So we are being taught that human beings they pursue happiness, they maximize the utility, maximize the profit. But for the hereafter, for this worldly life, but I think there's nothing wrong with that. We just, Islamization means we continue from this life to the hereafter. Wallahu a'lam.
Very good. I think, have you followed what your brother say here? Have you understood what brother say? If you understand what he says, my lecture is finished already. So brothers and sisters, this is a very good start to understand what is Islamization of knowledge and why Islamization of knowledge come. You know, brothers and sisters, knowledge is very important. You want to build civilization, you need knowledge. You need specialized knowledge. You cannot do tamaddun or hadara without knowledge. That's why Islamic civilization, as an example, has a very huge body of knowledge, which is theoretical and applied knowledge. In the Abbasid period, and after that, we found the expansion of ulum and knowledge of all types of creativity. But that one comes later, comes when you build something before. So brothers and sisters, why we are talking today about Islamization of knowledge? Let me give you another question to understand better. Now, if you specialize in human science, psychology, sociology, anthropology, and you study in most of the universities in the Islamic world, other than the few Islamic universities, what will be your textbooks? Which textbooks you use to study anthropology, or culture, or sociology, or psychology, or cognitive psychology, or industrial psychology? What type of textbooks you use?
From the Western countries.
All are Western. 99% are Western. Okay? So brothers and sisters, the first thing I want you to understand is that the body of the contemporary knowledge in the last 2 centuries is all Western oriented, based on westernization of knowledge, because the Western civilization is a dominating civilization. And you all know that the philosophy of Western civilization is centric. They think that they are in the center and the world is the rest, should follow. That's why comes later the process of colonization, because of their understanding of their self. As humans in the world who are in the center of the world and the rest of the people, they should do tawaf. Tawaf around the Western world and civilization. So brothers and sisters, let's summarize like this. If the Western civilization, when the Islamic civilization declined 5-6 centuries ago, we declined or more, automatically in the Sunnah of Allah, in the laws of God in the universe, when a civilization declined, another civilization will replace. And that's what happened. When Islamic civilization ends its cycle, after 10 centuries of development, a new civilization comes. You remember Spain, Andalusia was the meeting point between the Western and the Islamic. And from there, the Western civilization flourished. And then the Islamic civilization goes down. So brothers and sisters, when the Western civilization came in, what did we have at that time? Okay, before answering this, when the Islamic civilization came, how did Islamic civilization start? You know, from the time of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, before the time of Rasul, what we call that society? Jahiliyyah, ignorance society. You know how long that Jahiliyyah society? You know how many years? Jahiliyyah means before the coming of Rasul. That Jahiliyyah period, you know how many years? 500. Very important, very optimistic. In fact, it is 2,000 years from the time of Ismail until Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, ta'ada prophet, ta'ada knowledge, ta'ada religion in that place. There is no ilmu, there is no revealed knowledge there. That's why the Quran called them al-ummiyina, الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم. Ummiyin, not only as many people understand means they cannot read and they cannot write. No. One of the meanings is because they don't have the religious knowledge before. They didn't receive a prophet before. Not like Ahlul Kitab. بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم. So brothers and sisters, 2,000 years or more, this is the Jahiliyyah period. But when Islamic civilization started, do you know when the Islamic civilization started? When the first wahyu come. Iqra, read in the name, proclaim in the name of God. You know what does that mean? Means a new worldview is coming. So, 2,000 years, nothing. No, the society is the same. The civilization of products. They don't have. What they have? Poetry. They have some virtues and values of a Jahili society. But they don't have sophisticated civilization like in Persia and Rome. What do they have? What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what happened? The Quran come with what? With a new worldview. A new worldview. I will explain to you what does mean worldview and how worldview is essential in the development of any knowledge. Are you following with me?
Yeah.
Now, I come back to the answer of our doctor before. Our doctor said that in the West, he studied in the West, studied economics. He didn't find anywhere in that economics anything related to revealed knowledge, to other sources of knowledge other than aql, reason, other than experiment, other than laboratory research, other than empirical research. He didn't find in his study that revealed knowledge or religion is a source of knowledge. So brothers and sisters, the Western civilization, which is a centric civilization, which is a colonizing civilization, later on, produced a very huge body of knowledge, which we are consuming today for the last 300 or 400 years. So brothers and sisters, your universities, your textbooks, your knowledge, whether in human science, in social science, in behavioral science, in philosophy and arts, in natural science, in medical science, I can say safely 95% is Western. You agree with me or disagree? I'm not talking about Islamic universities like UIE or the university from where you come. You talk about Islamization, about akhlaq, about values. But there, it's all about numbers. It's all about statistics. It's all about measurable things. It's all about tangible. Tangible means things that we can see, touch, experiment. So anything outside of this, no place in the scientific knowledge. So, the contemporary Western knowledge, which is based on the scientific methodology of the West, has an epistemology. You know what is epistemology? A theory of knowledge. What is theory of knowledge? Is the theory that tells you how knowledge comes, from where knowledge comes, what are the source of knowledge, how you develop knowledge, how you use knowledge, how you apply knowledge. It is very crucial. So brothers and sisters, to summarize to you all this Western civilization in the last 300 years, I can summarize it in 6 great ideas in the West. These 6 great ideas or theories in the West shaped the contemporary body of knowledge which we are consuming in the Islamic world today. What are those theories? Number 1, positivism. Positivism. Have you heard about positivism? You know positivism, theory of Auguste Comte? Yes, okay. What is positivism? Very shortly, it is the only knowledge that is scientific and accepted is the knowledge that comes under aqal, reason, experiment. Forget about religion. Forget about values. All these things are not scientific. Okay, positivism, a big theory, philosophy that shaped the Western knowledge today. Number two, materialism. Have you heard about materialism? Materialism of Karl Marx and then Hegel and all this group of scholars. Materialism says that no life, no world other than this world, the physical, mechanical world. Of course, when you say materialism, you can add also naturalism or humanistic naturalism, scientific naturalism. All these, they don't believe in the existence of the other world. So to them, the world is mechanical. There are laws, there are dynamics in the world itself. World creates itself by itself. It has its own laws, it has its own. So materialism is another big idea in this Western body of knowledge. Number three, you have existentialism. Have you heard about al-wujudiyya? Al-wujudiyya or existentialism. Another big theory in literature, in arts, in phenomenology. This is a big idea from the West. Have you heard about the fourth idea? Have you heard about relativism of Einstein? Relativism, you heard about relativism? Relativism is a theory in physics, in understanding the physical world. And this relativism doesn't see that there is absolute, there is something beyond the world, there is a supernatural being which is very intelligent, which is Hakim, Alim. No, it is relativism. It's the theory of physics which captures all our understanding of natural science, our understanding of al-kawn, universe. Are you following? Yes, very good. Okay, this is number four. Number five, have you heard about the theory of the theory of Freud, Sigmund Freud of psychology, psychoanalysis? This is another big idea which influenced the whole body of the contemporary Western knowledge. What is psychoanalysis? In the end, they reduce a human into certain psychic things. These psychic things relate to sexual, requirements of a human. Means the man, like the people in economics, when they reduce man to economic man. You know, if you read the book of the Capital of Nations, the book of Capital of Nations, you will understand how the West understand economics, how they understand universe, how they understand resources. They are limited, we have to fight for it, we have to get to gain. The whole world become materialistic, become conflicting. We created a different perception of humans, of the people. So psychoanalysis of Sigmund Freud is another big idea that influenced the Western civilization. So brothers and sisters, there are many big ideas in modernism or in the modern world which influenced and shaped the new Western worldview of knowledge. You have, for example, empiricism, rationalism. Have you heard about rationalism of René Descartes? Rationalism is a big mess or big idea which shaped the Western world in the last 2 centuries. What is rationalism? Means aql is God. Reason is everything in our life. So brothers and sisters, imagine you have a civilization which is coming up very strong, and these are the ideas which shape that civilization, shape its thinking, its culture, its knowledge, its education, its civilization. So what type of product you expect? Do you expect balanced people? Do you expect hikmah and ilmu and hikmah? You will not expect this, because the muqaddimah is this. The muqaddimah or the basics of this civilization are materialism, positivism, existentialism, empiricism, rationalism, relativism, and so on and so forth. So brothers and sisters, these ideas already influenced the Western civilization, Western knowledge in the last 600, 700, 400, 300 years. And they become the dominating methods, knowledge, theories, and product with which we are consuming today, brothers and sisters. So that's the situation where, as Muslim, we found ourselves when we wake up from colonization, 100 years, 200 years, we wake up after independence, we found these are the educational systems which we have. Plus cultural systems which are confusing and which are mixed between Western and non-Western. We don't know. In our countries, you will find we have secular, we have laicism, we have Muslim, we have this. We become, particularly when the Khilafah go apart, we created new societies where everything is in those societies. Plus the domination of the secular approach to politics, to knowledge, to education, to economics. So brothers and sisters, in this context, the idea of Islamization of knowledge comes. So, what is Islamization of knowledge? What is Islamization? That's why I want you to have the background in your mind. Why we are talking about Islamization? We are talking about Islamization because the textbooks which we are using, the methods which we are using, the knowledge which we are teaching to our students in economy, in finance, in medical, is all Western. It's all based on the worldview I was talking about. But when I say this, quote unquote, this doesn't mean all this Western knowledge and this is all haram, is all kafir. No, that's wrong. No one can say this. That knowledge, most of it is very dynamic. It's very good. It produced a great civilization. But because it misses certain elements, certain substance, it's falling. So what Islamization of knowledge is trying to do is, number one, is to rebalance knowledge. Okay? Now, they are saying that the philosophy of knowledge, the theory of knowledge, is based on aql, on experiment, on laboratory, based on quantitative and qualitative research, which is based on this. So we are telling them, okay, we agree, but we add other sources of knowledge. What do we add? We add wahyu. We add wahy. Revealed knowledge as a source of knowledge. Because when we add revealed knowledge as a source of knowledge, we are bringing what? A new worldview. Okay? If Karl Marx defines man as an economic man, we in our worldview, we define man as Khalifatullah. There is a difference between economic man and Khalifatullah. Khalifatullah, the most important thing in him is, as the Quran say, وَابْتَغِي فِي مَا أَتَاكَ اللَّهُ الدَّارَ الْآخِرَةِ وَلَا تَنْسَى نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. You seek in what God has given you, akhirah, but never forget your portion of dunya. We already created balance. When we talk about Khalifa, we are not talking about a materialistic man, but we are talking about istimar al-ard, umran al-ard means building the earth. Means Ibn Khaldun has a concept of al-umran al-bashari. Have you heard about umran bashari? Is tamaddun bashari. So brothers and sisters, Islamization of knowledge is the process that, okay, I go a little bit here to show you something for you just to see. Very simple, so that we save some time. Okay, I show you here. Okay, look at this, brothers and sisters. Look at this. Can you see with me here? What is Islamization of knowledge? Is producing, Number one is evaluating, producing, implementing knowledge within the framework of Islamic worldview and values. So brothers and sisters, Islamization of knowledge is not only we evaluate the Western knowledge based on our worldview. That is one step. You can evaluate what they say based on our worldview, but it's not enough. You have to produce knowledge based on Islam. Hardly nowadays what we do, we just take the Western knowledge and go and find hadith and ayah to say, yeah, Islam talk about it. Yeah, Islam has alternative. That's not enough. Islamization of knowledge is, number one, we should evaluate this body of Western knowledge. We must evaluate it. Are you following with me? You have to evaluate it because why? It is based on Western worldview. The Western worldview is positivistic, is materialistic, is not balanced. So we need to re-evaluate knowledge. So, first step, we evaluate. That's what Ismail al-Faruqi was talking about. We have to evaluate the contemporary knowledge because its worldview is one-sided. Its worldview is not balanced. So, brothers and sisters, but Islamization of knowledge is not only to evaluate the Western knowledge using Islam, but we need to produce new knowledge using Islam. In sociology, in psychology, in economics, in all fields, we need to produce. And evaluation is one process, producing is another process. But it's not only to process, brothers and sisters, to produce. It is to implement knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in Islam, always we talk about Iman and Amal. Iman, then Amal. If you have Iman without Amal, it's not correct. If you have Amal without Iman, is not correct. I give you example, quote and quote. There is one alim, I think most of you heard about him, particularly those in Islamic studies. His name is Muhammad ibn al-Mubarak. Long time, in the time of Imam Malik and the great ulama of Islam, a person came to him and asked him, Ya Imam, what does mean this verse of the Quran? He went to Imam and asked him, Siapa maksud? This ayah, what does it mean? I don't understand. What is the ayah? He said, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. He asked him, what does mean أحسن عملا? What is the مقصود of أحسن عملا? Then the Imam say, أحسن عملا needs to have some condition. Number one, need to be your faith in Allah need to be great. Your amal to be hasan and accepted by Allah, your iman must be correct. And when I say your iman must be correct means your ikhlas, your tajarrud, your sincerity, you do knowledge as ibadah because it is this knowledge that Allah give you is your way to build hadara, tamaddun. This tamaddun is your way to build Imran. Imran is your way to sa'ada or happiness in dunya and akhirah. That's how we understand. So he told him, Iman, ikhlas is the first condition. The second condition is, he told him, you follow the manhaj. Manhaj. Your amal to be hasan, to be accepted by God, follow the manhaj of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Follow the methodology of the Prophet. Follow the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So brothers and sisters, when you have knowledge without faith, wrong. When you have knowledge without amal, is wrong. So that's where the ummah is kept today. Adara my alim, no amal. Adara my people working, but no iman, no faith. Rosa. Are you following with me or not? We are trying to bring a new theory of knowledge, which tells that Iman and Amal must be together in your educational system. Iman and Amal must be together in your curriculum. So, brothers and sisters, we cannot, when we talk about Islamization of knowledge, is a process of evaluating the contemporary knowledge and then producing new knowledge and then implementing the knowledge. So this is the process of Islamization. Very simple. Islamization of knowledge is the process where our scholars, our ulama, our people are trying to evaluate the Western knowledge, to produce new knowledge and to implement this knowledge in our life. So, but what makes difference between, even in the West, they evaluate knowledge, they produce knowledge, they implement knowledge, yes or no? What is special about us? The special about us is this. Is this part. Even you evaluate knowledge, you produce knowledge, you implement knowledge, but within the Islamic worldview. So, brothers and sisters, I want you to understand this very well, so that we can really understand what is Islamization of knowledge. I go back again now. After you look at this, we will go back here. But let's move forward. Now, talking about Islamization of knowledge, I think we will give you all this PowerPoint. Take it and look into it. There are a lot of ideas here. Okay? This is your property now. Because ilmu in Islam supposed to be fi sabilillah. Okay? All this will be yours. Okay? So, I come back here. I think you understand with me that now the body of knowledge in which we are getting our degrees from universities, those universities, they use a knowledge, they teach us knowledge which is Western oriented. What does mean Western oriented? The philosophy of knowledge, the theory of knowledge, the methods of knowledge, the objectives of knowledge, and the application of knowledge are all based on the Western worldview. Do you agree with me? That's the reality. If you don't agree with me, just go to the library, get for me any book. Get for me any book of economics, social science, human science, and look at the topics, look at the cases which they teach you. If you are teaching psychology, in most universities in the Muslim world, those teaching psychology or sociology, go and see the books they use and the cases they use. Even the cases are Western cases. So what do you expect to produce? What kind of a mind you produce? A culture you produce? You produce people who are Muslim, but the knowledge and the ilm and methods are all Western. So, brothers and sisters, in this context, what happened? There was a conflict in our educational system, dichotomy, as Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman says. Dichotomy, split in the educational system. This is Western, secular, this is Islamic. So, we are split. Those who go to study in Islamic studies and Islamic universities, they will not be bothered with what's happening in the world, in social science, in human science, and all this. Those who are going in human science, they will not bother what's going on in your religion or in Islamic studies. So they get their degrees, this one in social science, this one in Islamic studies, this one goes this way, this one goes this way. While Islamic worldview says knowledge is united. It means there is unity of knowledge. When we produce a sociologist, by very nature of Islamic worldview, he should know Islam. He should know values. He should know the methods of Islamic studies. He should know usul al-fiqh. He should know hadith. He should know Quran. But harini, if you go to a secular university, they will never tell you Assalamu alaikum or Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Example, myself. I studied long time ago. I did my degree in finance. 4.5 years in a secular university. 4.5 years. There is nothing Islamic. Nothing. And it's still until today. And go to any secular university and check by yourself. So brothers and sisters, we found our ulama like Al-Faruqi, like Al-Attas, like Abu Sulaiman, like all these people, they found themselves in the West. They see what Islam has of treasure, of knowledge, of ilm, of balance. And they saw this Western civilization very powerful, very dynamic, very centric, but it's deviating. No values, no ethics, no religion. The only source of knowledge is this and this. So they say, let's come up with the idea of Islamization of knowledge. What does mean Islamization of knowledge? It doesn't mean we are against the Western knowledge or the body of knowledge or the products. We are against the deviations that happened in the understanding of knowledge, in the epistemology, in the philosophy, in the objectives of science and ilmu and subjects that are always. That's why Islamization of knowledge needs to go, as I told you, a process to evaluate, to produce, and to implement knowledge within the West, the Islamic worldview and value system. So brothers and sisters, Islamic worldview will become very crucial in our process of Islamization of knowledge. I come back. So the justification for Islamization, because that's the educational system, split, Islamic values are not there, religion is not taught. Our people who study fiqh and usul, they are living in the history, as some people say. Those who study human science are living in this world, so there is a dichotomy, a split. We come up with the idea of integration of knowledge. Those who study human science, we give them input from Islamic. Those who study Islamic, we give them input from the human science. That's why we have our kulliyah here. They call it kulliyah of Islamic revealed knowledge and the human science. Before this, any student major in human science must take revealed knowledge. Any student major in revealed knowledge must take a minor in human science, psychology, so that you have one in hadith, but he knows sociology. You have one in da'wah, but he knows communication. You have one in usul al-fiqh, but he knows laws and management. So you create a new understanding. So brothers and sisters, Islamization of knowledge is a very important idea to re-evaluate, reproduce, and implement knowledge based or within the Islamic worldview. If you understand this rationale, Islamization will become very easy to you. And the indicator that we need Islamization, as Al-Faruqi says, is the textbooks. The textbooks you are using to teach people are mostly Western. So, Brother Shahran, Datu Jamil, Triple IT, you yourself are trying your best to bring these. Because what is textbook? Textbook is very crucial, is key to knowledge. Because that textbook will reflect what? Your philosophy of knowledge, your epistemology of knowledge, your methodology, your objective of knowledge, your application of knowledge, your products. So, even though what we produced of textbook is still preliminary, but alhamdulillah, it is a start. You know, in fact, if you check the Al-Faruqi view on Islamization, you will narrow down, you come back to the textbook, because textbook in the end is that product which will reflect the whole philosophy of Islam of knowledge. But we don't have those textbooks until today. What we have today is some attempts. We brought, alhamdulillah, some of them, some material, but I think we need another 30 years. Then what will happen? The library, you will have two libraries inside, two sets of books. Psychology, you will get the Western psychology. You go to this side, wow, Islamic psychology. But Panya books, Panya cases from Indonesia, from Padang, from Algeria, from Morocco, from this, cases all Islamic. When you read the psychology book of Islam, of Malik Badri or this, wow, what is this? Look, this epistemology is better. This understanding of man is better. This man is balanced. But the other one, how come only psychoanalysis? But this one, no, Khalifa analysis. Khalifa analysis means man has the emotional, has the cognitive, has the intellectual, has the behavioral, has the social, but all these are put in a new curriculum, in new books, new teaching. We have new great scholars can teach psychology within the Quran. Because when you teach psychology within the Quran, you will be referring to everything: horizon, universe, life, feelings, tastes, culture. That's why unifying knowledge. One of the great concepts of Islam, of knowledge, is the knowledge, unity of knowledge. Means I give you example. You know Imam Shafi'i, for example. Imam Shafi'i is usul al-fiqh. He's the first, among the first Muslim minds that start the process of theorization. Theorization. You know what does mean theorization? He start thinking system. He put, his book Al-Risala? It is a methodology of ijtihad. It is a methodology of ijtihad. He put the manhaj of ijtihad, which the faqih must use to do ijtihad. Shafi'i talk about masadir al-fiqh. What are the sources of fiqh? He talk about ijtihad, Quran, Sunnah, Qiyas, Ijma', Islah. He tells you the methodology how you do. You know the book of Ibn Khaldun, Al-Muqaddimah? You know what is Al-Muqaddimah? It's not only a book of culture. It is a manhaj. It is a book of the methodology of social science, of Umran, Ilm al-Imran, of human association, of science of civilization. You know what is science of civilization? Not only one thing, many things. Can you read, any one of you read the Muqaddimah here of Ibn Khaldun? Inside the Muqaddimah, because this man is thinking system, not one single aspect, many aspects. That's why in the Muqaddimah, he talk about religion, about state, government, talk about civilization, talk about ulum, talk about skills, talk about ulama, talk about hukama. That's thinking. That's what the concept of knowledge produces, a system thinking. You think about economics not as just economics, but within the framework of Umran, of Islam, of Quran. That's why Shafi'i, a man of usul al-fiqh, but he knows about universe, he knows about the values, he knows about language, he knows about the encyclopedic thinking which Islam creates. So what the Western knowledge did is partialization of knowledge. You go, we create economics, and the economics we create thousands of specializations, sub-specialization. We destroy knowledge. No more looking at knowledge as a unit, organic unit. Are you following, or you are lost already with me? So brothers and sisters, the indicators that we need Islamization is the textbooks, the educational system that we have, which is split, the teachers which we have who cannot teach sociology from Islamic perspective, psychology from Islamic perspective. That's why IIIT is trying its best to train people, to bring people from Islamic studies. We teach them social science, we teach them human science, we bring people from human science, engineering and this, and we give them the tools, the adawat, how they teach, how they use Islamic concepts of knowledge, of akhlaq, to teach them. That's what this university stands for, and that's what Islamization of knowledge stands for. Okay, this is all what I have said to you is the muqaddimah. This is the introduction. Okay? So, because if you follow a philosopher like myself, you stay here until tomorrow. So, this is my muqaddimah, like muqaddimah of Ibn Khaldun. Now comes the history. Okay, brothers and sisters, another 20 minutes, a very long time. Okay, so brothers and sisters, I think from the explanation, you already understand what is Islamization of knowledge. Islamization of knowledge is our try, our attempt, it's a process to re-evaluate the Western knowledge, to produce new knowledge, and to implement knowledge within the Islamic. But to evaluate, can you evaluate Islamic Western knowledge without having a worldview? Without having your Islamic epistemology? Okay, so brothers and sisters, What is important now? This is the worldview. This is the new concept of knowledge which Islamization brings. In the West, the 6 big ideas I told you, they don't include wahyu, they don't include akhirah, they don't include all this. Go ahead, bro.
There are some lecturers from conventional courses, accounting, conventional finance, who has this concern. If you want to integrate or Islamize this so-called conventional knowledge, accounting, financial management. Number one, we do not have the Islamic background. You do not know about Islamic worldview, aqidah. That's number one. Number two, how do we Islamize, for example, accounting? What is not Islamic about that? So that is the common questions asked. Can you comment on that?
Very good. This is a very good question. In fact, everywhere this question is asked. You go to the West or to the Arab world or to other parts, they will tell you, why you are Islamizing knowledge? Knowledge is neutral. Knowledge is, particularly as he said, the knowledge of the quantitative, let's say the mathematics or physics or accounting and all this. Brothers and sisters, the point is deeper. The point or the issue is deeper than the numbers of accounting or mathematics. Give you example. You know the book of Algebra of Al-Khwarizmi? Have you read that book? Have you seen the book? One time you go and read Al-Khwarizmi and read any Western book in algebra. You will see the difference. Okay, even though Einstein, in his relativism and his ideas, he didn't write a book, but he has articles on physics and all this. But when you read the article or the books of any Western in algebra and you read Al-Khwarizmi, you will see in Al-Khwarizmi book, he starts with ayah of the Quran, he talks about the values of ilmu, of knowledge, he talks about how Allah give him this rahmah, how Allah makes him balance, how Allah give him light and nur to discover his sunnah, his laws in the universe, how Allah give him all this khair, all this ni'mah, and then he used inheritance. You know the mawarith, ilmul mawarith, he used the numbers from there. He is living in the environment of iman and faith. Why? Because of his worldview of Islam. Because his faith in God. Because the matter is not actually Islamizing accounting. C plus 2 plus 2 becomes ethical 2 plus 2. No. It's the person. It is the mind. It is the culture. It's the behavior. It's the methods that we use. It is the people who are now in nuclear physics, or they are in genetic engineering. What is the difference between a Muslim scientist and a non-Muslim scientist? In terms of ilm and knowledge, they are the same. Maybe the non-Muslim is much more sophisticated, much more creative than him. But what is different about the Muslim is his view of this ilmu. When he gets this ilmu, for what? For tamaddun, for life, for helping. But the guy gets nuclear power to colonize, gets nuclear power to destroy, gets nuclear power to create all these environmental issues. So Islamic worldview or our perception of knowledge is not only to end up with dealing with, but the whole man is different man. His perception of knowledge, his understanding, his use of knowledge, his application for the khair of humanity, and so on and so forth. So that's number one. Number two, what we are saying in Islamization of knowledge, we know there is mathematics, which is abstract science. But what is behind mathematics? Mathematics is the study of what? Or physics is a study of what? Study of nature, of this universe. Now, when you study the universe with a horizon that there is a creator, there is God, and this universe is systematic, is well organized, and there is akhirah, and there is value, and you have to protect it. Is it different when you study the universe as a mechanical body? Ada difference or ta'ada? A big difference. So, the Muslim accountant, in this perception of Islamic worldview, his understanding, his attachment, his understanding of knowledge and for what to be used is much more opened. And I use this accounting not to cheat people, to help people, to see how Allah teach me to be more exact, more this, to help people, to create a better accountant, to do this. But here I use numbers to get the reports. So for me here, I use accountant to do ibadah, to go there. So the orientation teaches you different. Whether you are in mathematics, or in engineering, or in physics, there is a philosophy behind it. There is a theory of knowledge behind it. There is objective behind it. What we are saying, Islamization of knowledge, is trying to relook into that philosophy, into that epistemology, into that approach. That's number 2. Number 3, Islamization. We know that knowledge, particularly the natural and the mathematical and all this, more on numbers and this. But the human himself is not only numbers. Is a substance with ruh. So the Western approach to knowledge doesn't address the ruh, the soul. Even when they talk about professional ethics, it's in fact from a law perspective, not from qiyam, values, akhlaq, ruh, substance, soul perspective. Yeah, I'm not saying that Western, they don't have professional ethics. They are much better than us in implementing the professional ethics, because our iman is not really that strong without generalization. Are you with me or you left already? Okay, that's very good. I need to focus. So brothers and sisters, we should not just look at it from a number or mathematics. It's a big issue. That's why Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman talks about crisis in the Muslim mind. It's deeper than numbers, because accounting is a product, is a tool. But the tool, who is using it, is the ruh, the substance. That's why, what is Islamization in the end? We build that new man, new soul, new mind, creative, dynamic, thinking, but he is balanced, he is value-oriented, he understands his mission as Khalifatullah. That's the ruh of knowledge that we are giving today. Brothers and sisters, let me move. I just add the 4th aspect here on this. For the Islamization of knowledge, let's say, when it comes to social science, human science, behavioral science, Islamization of knowledge will need re-evaluation and reproducing and implementation of knowledge based on our worldview. Look at this, our worldview. I think you understand. It's already clear. This is our epistemology. Okay, I just moved quickly. Here, I wanted to show you, these are some of the definition. You can read them later on. Okay, I want you to look at this. For you just really to understand, sorry, goes back. Okay, look at this. Elements of the process of Islamization of knowledge. We need all these things to be with us together. We need the Islamizers. Who are the Islamizers? Us. Brother Shahran, our doctor, Brother Sulaiman, our sister. But we need, as our brother mentioned rightly, we need to build this Islamizers, to train these Islamizers. I wish one day we have an institute, specialized institute, to produce Islamizers and integrators of knowledge. Its job is 2 years program to get people from economics, from this. We put them in the program. We put them fresh. We give them a PhD in Islamizers. So then you will see how the Ummah will change, how the educational systems will change, how 10, 15, 20, 30 years, you see a new knowledge, new generations. You know, one of the shortcomings of Islamization today is the lack of these Islamizers in all universities. We have few people, you can count them, but we need thousands, brothers and sisters. Okay, we need Islamizers. And when we talk about Islamizers, we don't just give them the methodology, the knowledge. We need also to address their mind, their soul, their character. Okay, we need to address their ethics and virtues. We need to address the social aspect of an Islamizer. You cannot bring an Islamizer and he is corrupted, he is lying, he is cheating. It's against the values of Islam. You can bring an Islamizer who is good in methodology, knowledge, ilmu, but in the behavior, it's already wrong. Okay, number two, we need to talk about the body of knowledge to be Islamized. You know, the body of knowledge to be Islamized. What is the body of knowledge? Let's say take psychology. You want to Islamize psychology. How you do it? Number one, it's philosophy. Check what's wrong with that. Two, it's epistemology. Check what's wrong with that. It's objective. Check what's wrong with that. It's theories. Check what's wrong with that. It's application. Check what's wrong with that. Are you okay?
Yeah.
So number two. Number three, the institutions of Islamization, universities, schools, government, industries, families, society, all these are institutions. Anyone who wants to strategize Islamization, it's not just one small aspect. It's like managing a process. So when you do Islamization, I give you an example, like now, alhamdulillah, one of the indicators that Islamization is successful is Islamic economics and banking. You know, to do the Islamization of economics and Islamic banking and finance, it took years, 30 years, 40 years. I remember in the 80s, I was myself writing long time ago in our journals, daily journal in Algeria, about Islamic economics, talking about the concept. But today, what you have governments like the government of Malaysia, putting policies, building banks, Bank Muamalat, Bank Islam, putting products to enhance this. Without this, you cannot have Islamization. You cannot show that Islamization can be a great product. So, what happened in economics needs to happen in psychology, in sociology. So, how it happens in psychology? When we start getting the Islamic clinics of psychology, the Islamic way of medicating, not just putting ruqya shar'iyya and all these things, but psychology, Islamic psychology. So in the future, 20, 30 years, we can have clinics of Islam. You have schizophrenia, you have social phobia, all this, you go to the clinic, you get it done. But now you go to the clinic, the first thing they do, give him clozapine, give him Zipraxa, medicine. So our shifa from the Quran will combine the conventional and the ruh, the soul, the psychology, the faith, how iman and faith becomes a powerful tool to do shifa on nufus. So brothers and sisters, we need, when we Islamize, we need to look at the Islamizer, to look at the body of knowledge, to look at the institutions, and also the products. We can just keep talking about Islamization, Islamic theory of knowledge, Iman, Wahyu, but if there is no product, people will not follow you. Products everywhere. Now you have in economics, but where are in culture, where are in medical, where are in education, we need more and more and more products. The products means what? The solutions to the people on all these areas. Okay, we need the environment for Islamization, create the environment and the ecosystem for Islamization. To do Islamization in university, you need the top management to help you. You need the administrators to help you. You need the kulliyas to help you. You need Brother Shahran to help you. You need Triple IT to help you. So you need an ecosystem. It's not an easy process, brothers and sisters. But we can do it because we proved already that we have done. Okay? So brothers and sisters, this is the one thing I want you to follow with me here. So I already defined for you the Islamization, very simple. You know, if I want to put it in a very simple terms, what is Islamization? Is how Islam influence the contemporary knowledge. We influence it means we evaluate it, we criticize it, we produce new knowledge. That's Islamization. No need to complicate it. But to do that, you will need our worldview, we will need our theory of knowledge and our methods. Okay, I move forward as many things are here. You notice here I put that to do Islamization in a university, we need to change the curriculum, we need to change the teachers, the students, the administrators, we need to do the new culture of research, we need to train people. There are many things that can be done to do the Islamization. Okay, very simple. I summarized for you one aspect of Islamization, okay, to develop an Islamic model of knowledge based on Islamic worldview and values. You agree with me?
Yeah.
Anyone disagree? Anyone disagree? I give him F in the exam. No one. Alhamdulillah. Very simple. Look at it. It's clear. You have a vision in your life. Come up with an Islamic educational system based on Islamic values and worldview. It's a very hard task, but we will do it. Okay? The generation to come, they will do it. It must be done. Okay? And also number two, produce new knowledge and products based on Islamic worldview and value system. Okay. This we need to train people how to produce. We need to teach them. We need to give them the methodology. So we train people. And that's, I think, the process that we do. What is our strategic objective in the future? We need to provide methods and application to people in economics, in psychology. We need to give you the methodology. We need to teach you. We cannot just come and tell you, please Islamize your knowledge. Cannot. We need to train you. And to train you, we need to produce the ilm, to train you, the books, the textbooks, and that's what we are doing, especially Triple IT, and we need to thank them always for this. Not many are doing this job. Hari ini nowadays. Not many in the world are doing the job of Islamization. Really, we appreciate that. So even some people are even against Islamization in our own universities. So brothers and sisters, Islamization is really something that all of us to be proud of and do it. If we disagree in certain aspect, no mas'ala. Just move forward in what you understand. Okay, now, number two, we want to enable universities and researchers to exercise ijtihad and produce knowledge within the Islamic worldview. Initiatives come up with integrated curriculum, develop Islamic environment of learning, encourage community to come up with Islamic products, ijtihad and research, and implement Islamic akhlaq and values in our life. Because Islamization as knowledge, if it's not backed with good akhlaq, good body, forget about it. Al-Ghazali in Ihya Ulum al-Din, or in his book Ayyuha al-Walad, he talks about the akhlaq of ilmu. In Islam, if alim without virtues and values, even if he go to the sky, forget about it. Are you following? That's the point. So we understand today that that's our job and that's what we have to do. The plans, the very simple plan, come up with textbook, train the trainers of Islamization. But there are levels. In the future we can create levels, the preliminary, the intermediate, and the advanced Islamizer, so that we can have a rector who is an Islamizer by himself. We can have a dean by he himself an Islamizer. So brothers and sisters, let me move, I think, another 2 minutes from the 20 minutes given by Shahran. Okay, brothers, now I'm going to take you. These are other definitions of Islamization. You will find them in the book of Islamization of IUM. I will not go into this one. Because now if I enter into this one, I'm going to take you to a very complicated process. So brothers and sisters, thank you very much for following. May Allah bless you all. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum, Prof. That is one semester lecture. 3.5 months compressed into 2 hours lecture. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. At least we got the spirit. That's why from our brother, from our professors, that we all have to be the Islamizers, and a lot of work ahead of us. Alhamdulillah. So without further ado, we'll open the floor for comment, for addition, for question, for 20 minutes until 12:45 or 12:50. Can ask in Malay also, Prof can understand. We can translate. Guys, the first one to open. In Arabic also, of course.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih atas thank you for your comment. Islamization very simple in to application, but in my mind, why in practicing very difficult to do it in academic system. Boleh pakai bahasa Indonesia? Yes. Ini yang kami rasakan ketika kami kuliah S3 di PhD di Jakarta. Ketika kita karena jurusan kita itu Al-Quran Sunnah. Ketika kita mengemukakan ayat, hadis, nah lalu dikatakan oleh dosennya kalau ayat dan hadis dikemukakan itu hanya untuk sebuah konfirmasi saja. Nah, itu kan bukan ilmu. Nah, itu yang dinyatakan. Jadi dalam pikiran kami itu kenapa itu tidak dikatakan pada itu sumber ilmu. Nah, itu sudah hampir menyeluruh pendapat yang seperti itu. Nah, yang ilmu itu adalah pengetahuan, apalagi yang kita ambil dari barat, dari timur. Nah, itulah yang ilmu. Nah, itu kalau ayat dan hadis itu hanya tempat konfirmasi saja. Nah, jadi kalau ini yang diterapkan, berarti kan kita tidak bisa mengambil sesuatu yang wah gitu, yang luar biasa bagusnya, yang diturunkan Allah hanya memang untuk memperbaiki atau untuk salih likulli zaman wa makan itu. Nah, kenapa kita dilarang-larang yang seperti itu? Nah, ini jadi metode berpikir yang seperti ini saya kira ini sangat salah. Kalau ini diterapkan di seluruh perguruan tinggi, ini berarti membelenggu pikiran kita, tidak seperti yang Prof jelaskan tadi begitu. Nah, ini jadi kami mohon kami minta kami mohon bersama-sama gitu. Kita bekerja sama dengan pihak Triple ID untuk merubah semua sistem yang salah itu. Nah, jadi pernah seorang menteri Pak Habibie berbicara di forum dengan Pak Quraisy Shihab. Nah, lalu apa dinyatakan oleh Pak Habibie itu? Andai kata saya diberi umur kecil kembali, kata beliau, saya akan mempelajari Al-Quran dan Sunnah itu sungguh-sungguh, katanya. Nah, padahal itu yang berbicara itu seorang yang sudah bisa membuat pesawat terbang seperti itu, sudah tinggi ilmunya di bidang yang umum gitu, sains dan teknologi. Nah, lalu lalu diminta tampil pula seorang Pak Quraisy Shihab, dia mufasir Indonesia. Nah, lalu apa yang beliau ungkapkan kepada khalayak waktu itu? Andai kata saya diberi umur berkecil kembali, dikembalikan umur saya seperti anak kecil kembali, saya akan memilih jalan yang sama. Artinya dia akan belajar Al-Quran terus sampai, karena di dalam wahyu itulah saya terinspirasi untuk memperbaiki hidup ini. Nah, itu yang beliau nyatakan. Jadi sampai hari ini, kalau kita biarkan terus cara berpikir yang salah, ini termasuk kalau kita di akademik juga itu yang jadi perseteruan yang hebat selalu gitu. Jadi seolah-olah kita digiring, pelajarilah dulu sesuatu yang ini. Nanti kalau kita baca buku-buku yang dari timur itu menyarankan ke kita pelajarilah sesuatu itu dari wahyu dulu, baru diturunkan ke yang lain-lain seperti itu. Nah, ini saya kira bisa menyebabkan takutnya begini. Kita tuh disibukkan dengan selalu menghabiskan waktu untuk mempelajari sesuatu yang tidak jelas tujuannya, berputar-putar. Jadi how to difficult to itu mungkin ya. Jadi mohon penjelasannya. Jadi kami mohon nanti kepada Triple IT untuk bersama-sama bisa membuat suatu perubahan yang seperti yang dijelaskan ini. Bagaimana kita menjadi mendapatkan pengetahuan yang benar dari Allah, bukan pengetahuan yang salah. Itu. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi
Sure.
wabarakatuh.
Okay, I think this question is quite heavy, but we'll take more question. What Ibu Ida is saying is two questions. Why is it difficult to implement Islamization of knowledge on the ground? That's the first one. The second one, there is a strong view among the scholars that Quranic verses or the hadith only for confirmation, like a stamping, not knowledge. Knowledge is from the West, the modern knowledge that we explain. So how to confront, to respond that Quranic verses only a confirmation. Then he mentioned about this Habibi, who is a trained aeronautical engineering. So if he can be young again, he will learn Quran earnestly. And this Quraysh Shihab, as a Quranic scholar, I also do the same. If I can reverse my time, am I born again, I will also learn Quran continuously. So that's what the sister said. Oh, can we have two more question? Then Prof will answer in one go. Ada yang lain?
Then let me just sit there and answer. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Sister, thank you very much for your question. And this question of our sister is raised in all form like this, and it's very valid question. For the first question, it is difficult to implement Islamization of knowledge. You know why? Because Islamization of knowledge comes like a challenge to the whole existing educational system of our countries. And in our countries, you have a very already well-structured educational system. They have the policies, they have the ministries, they have the monitoring, they have all the things. Because Islamization is still not in the mainstream educational system. If it is in the mainstream educational system and becomes a policy with budget, with training people, with changing curriculum, it will be much more easier. So, because our structured educational systems are still secular in many places. So it's look like you have a big, huge house full of many things, and then Islamization enter and come very small thing and coming to challenge the whole. I tell you, Alhamdulillah, there was a time before maybe you really. I'm not sure when you're born, but there was a time if people just you say the term Islamization, they will not talk to you. But today we talk Islamic economics, Islamic banking in Singapore, in UK, in France. So we need a long time. Why? Because the structured mainstream educational system is different from what we are calling for. So to allow you even to do these activities in some universities will be difficult. Leave alone to give you the authority to implement the new system. And as long as Islamization doesn't become in the mainstream educational system of our ummah, and it become in the policy matters of countries, in the budgets, in this, we will still continue struggling from bottom up. And bottom up, it needs long time. So even in your university, if you want to do, maybe depend on your dean, if he likes it or not, depend on the lectures, whether people can support you or not. It's like trying your effort. But once it becomes in the mainstream, finish. Now, that's one thing. Number two, Islamization will take long time because even from our side, those who brought the Islamization of knowledge in the last 30 years, I tell you they have a plan, but maybe they have achieved 20% of that plan. It is an unfolding process. It needs a lot of work, a lot of energy, a lot of effort, a lot of money also to help, to bring, to educate. So our achievement, the last 30 years, I don't want to say we were supposed to achieve this because there are many reasons why we didn't achieve. We could have done better. I imagine by 2020, long time ago, by 2020, we can have many universities already. The mainstream is Islamization approach, but we don't have. We don't have. We have few universities are struggling, are trying to do. We have institute like Triple IT in US or Jordan, or this is the only institute that is much more structured, that is trying to do this in Indonesia, in this. So not enough, sister. Not enough to, this is a very huge educational systems which are very complicated and Western oriented in many ways of doing things. So it will take longer and longer time. But we need to be determined to do whatever thing we can do. And we move. Number 3, you mentioned somehow in your question, sister, for Islamization of knowledge to succeed, it's not only the job of the intellectual institutions or the university. It needs to be from the beginning of education of the children, in the family, in the Havana, the preschool, in the secondary school, in the primary school, in the high school, in the social institutions. We need to look at it as something for the development of a Muslim personality. Because at the university level, and this is more like epistemology, methodology, but at the lower level is building a good citizen, a balanced person. When you talk to him in the university about it, he will feel it's natural. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. But now, no. We teach them something. When they go to the university, we tell them something else. Islamization tells something else. So they find themselves in that environment and that situation. So it needs a long time for the implementation, because the issue of Islamization is not only related to our educational system, it is also related to our cultural system, our mindset, our thinking, our culture, our behavior, our social institution, like Malik bin Nabi say, it is a civilizational issue. You got the point. It's civilizational. It's not really easy. You just do one injection here, got it done. No, very difficult. But we will continue. The mosque has to play a role even in Islamization of the character, of the behavior, of the akhlaq, of the suluk. It's not only, the mosque can tell a lot about the books of Abu Hamid al-Ghazali on what does mean ilmu, and how ilmu is ibadah, how ilmu is akhlaq, how ilmu is everything. Who tells this? Our children. Who explains to them? Now, number 4, to answer your question, is I think our universities, Triple IT, and other people who are aware of this, we need to do more in terms of training people. I cannot tell you or our sister or our brother who is very new to Islamization, no, we need to train people who can facilitate it, who can show the way step by step, who can train people. It's not really that easy, brothers. It has levels, and the level of epistemology is too complicated. So we need to train people, so that people, they feel, yeah, I know how to do it. So I can answer the question. That's one. The other question is, we train people from when our people are born, we do the Quran we do the Azan. When they grow up, we teach them the Quran. You said from early days we know ayah, we know hadith, we love the Quran is with us. But I'm not sure whether we, in our raising up, whether we teach people the tool how to do, the tool how to think. Maybe we give them ilmu, we give them knowledge. They know Arkanul Islam, they know Shurutul Salat, they know Sunanul Salat, they know Ramadan, they know all this. But do they know how they think, how they do ijtihad, how they translate things practically? This is missing in our education. So we need to focus on this. We teach people the how, not the what and the why. We teach them why and how I do it. So that culture need to be developed. So our brother who says, Brother Habibi and others, I heard it also from others, we talk and say Quran salih لكل زمان ومكان, but there are some scholars, they say no, Quran has a level, he can give us faith, iman, and he give us just the akhlaq, the values, but Quran is not a book that helps us to produce knowledge or to create methodologies to do knowledge. And to me, I disagree with this. And my evidence is 10 years, 10 centuries of Islamic civilization. Al-Batani, Al-Bayruni, Al-Ghazali, very sophisticated methods of knowledge. Even the experimental methodology was developed not by Greek, by Muslim scholars. So Islam has the power, has the ilm, has the content to teach people, not just to confirm, but to produce methodologies, to produce knowledge, to create knowledge. The missing thing is our ulama who are specializing in this still unable to produce the methods, the approaches, the discourse that can convince Brother Habibi or Brother Shihab or Brother this and this, because we talk, we don't have the tool. So people, what they will say no. I remember I presented a lecture in UM 2 years ago, and there was there, they invite me and they invite one scholar, a big scholar in physics and aerospace and all these things. And he's a Muslim, but he believes that Islamic worldview is a personal thing. It doesn't have anything to do with the process of knowledge. It doesn't have anything to do with producing knowledge. And he challenged me, he said, give me example that Islam or Islamic worldview can help you produce knowledge. But it helps you to be a good man, to learn akhlaq, to do this, to confirm the haqiqah, the laws, the sunan. But in fact, I disagree with him there. And I'm saying today that Islamic worldview and Quran and Sunnah is not only a book to confirm facts, but it is a book to help you produce methodologies, helps you produce knowledge, helps you create new innovative ideas and views. And this, and the dalil is the Islamic civilization, 10 centuries of ulum in all sophisticated sciences, from mathematics to aerospace to optics to whatever, philosophy to ethics. The Islamic civilization, who helped them to do all this? Where were they 2,000 years before Islam? Why they didn't produce that knowledge? It is the Quran that created that. Quran gives you the guidance, gives you certain approaches, certain methods. It's not a book of science, of course, but it is a book of creating the environment for developing. So, sister, I think I can say that I little bit disagree with our brothers. I see the Quran has a more role, but there is a shortcoming from our sides as Islamizers to show this and to give the dalil and the alternative and to give cases to them. That's why I say textbooks are important, because they will tell how you do, what do you do with physics, how you look at physics. A person who is specializing in physics, he will know the laws, he will know the rules, the formula, but he need to understand the other aspects of the universe itself. What it tells, what is behind it, how we integrate. We need to teach people things, how they think in these areas. So I think this is my comment to your question. And for the Islamization of your hadith or usul al-fiqh, many people say, okay, we can Islamize human science, but what about Islamization of fiqh and usul al-fiqh? How do we Islamize this? In fact, there are many ways how you Islamize. Number one, you can make them more relevant. Prof. Kamal Hassan has the idea of relevantization, make it relevant to our time. Let's say, try to relook into all those fatwa or those methods of jarh and ta'dil. Jarh and ta'dil is one of the very sophisticated methodologies of textual analysis. But we cannot explain to those specializing in semantics and textual analysis, we cannot relate to them jarh and ta'dil, because we still, our ulama cannot do it. We need to teach them. So you got my point, sister. Means we need now to teach people how to relate our methodologies in fiqh, in usul al-fiqh. You know, like for example in economics, we have the book of Abu Abaid al-Mawardi. Books, very, very great theories. Of course, now is very advanced in many ways. Abu Abaid didn't talk about econometrics, but he talks about how we create wealth, how we distribute wealth, how we look at this, how we measure, how we do, and so on and so forth. I think this is, to wrap up your question, it's not that really easy, but we have to do a lot of things need to be done to train people. And from the beginning, it's not an issue only in the university. We need to train the ummah. We need to create levels of Islamization. Then we teach people to think, how to develop ideas, mind map. That's why creative thinking, as Jamal Badi taught you, is very important for our people. Thinking, critical thinking is very important. But are we teaching critical thinking, the real critical thinking? Our people of Islamic studies that we are teaching in universities, they are not critical. They cannot even use the methodologies of Islamic, of Quran and Sunnah, of Hadith. They are just consuming, that's all. So we need to train our teachers and lecturers and doctors of Islamic studies. We train them in pedagogy, in education. We train them in thinking. We train them how to do ijtihad, using even the new tools. That's the way forward. It's not just sitting on our ulum and saying our ulum is salihun likulli zamanin wa makan. Salih, it's okay for all zaman and makan when we translate it into reality. You cannot translate it if you don't have the ability, the thinking, the tools, the manhaj, the tariqah, the terms, the packaging, the management skills. Otherwise, I will start another lecture. Better start. Okay, anyone want to ask? Okay, come, Prof. Go ahead.
This is our medical doctor.
Oh, mashallah.
Still under the 5 minutes, inshallah, before we go lunch. And the brother also have to leave. Okay,
Terima kasih. Saya mengajar di Fakultas Kedokteran dan saya merasa pelajaran saya itu hambar dan tidak ada rohnya ketika saya mencoba menerangkan pertemuan sperma dan ovum. Banyak sekali faktor-faktor itu, tapi saya ingin bahwa semua itu adalah karena Allah semuanya. Jadi saya butuh waktu menerangkan itu kalau ada yang mendampingi saya dari IAIN atau dari keagamaan tentang proses-proses itu dan bagaimana fatwa. Jadi memang kebutuhan yang tadi itu dikotomi antara IAIN dan kedokteran, alangkah baiknya kalau suatu saat ini memang terrealisir bahwa sebetulnya banyak sekali hadis-hadis atau itu yang lebih menjelaskan lagi sehingga keimanan dari mahasiswa itu bertambah dan dia payah melupakan ilmu itu ketika ini diberikan bahwa Allah lah yang berperan. Terima kasih.
MashaAllah. Okay, Sheikh Shahram, translate the Indonesian.
So, the brother is saying that he's a professor of medicine. He need a partner or friend to guide him on how to have an Islamic input to his student because he's from conventional medicine. So he hopes his students will understand, will appreciate the values of Islamic.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think this is a very good question, and it was asked like 20 years ago in this university. How do we Islamize the medical and natural science? Because for a human science, social science, it's okay. It's clear that their objective, their philosophy is more materialistic, more positivistic, and so on and so forth. But for the medical and natural sciences, in fact, there was supposed to be also what we call, I think in your specialization there is something called medical education, like physics education, like this. We need to have what we call Islamic medical education. What is Islamic medical education? It teaches the doctor the Islamic view of medicine, the Islamic view of the body of the human, the importance of health in human life. It teaches the akhlaq and ethics of the medical doctor. It teaches how you deal with the patient, the psychology of the patient. There are a lot of things in our heritage talking about these things. But what we have in UAE here, Professor Omar Kasuli, when he was in IIUM, he came up with a book. With his team, they come up with a book on ethics and values in medical education or in medicine and this natural science. I'm not sure whether you have a copy of this. Ada. Okay. In fact, that one was supposed to be the platform. We need to have more. We need to develop more. We need to discover. In fact, I supervised last year one student who did a PhD thesis on Islamization and da'wah between Al-Faruqi and Abu al-A'la al-Mududi of Pakistan and Abu al-A'la. And then that sister in UAE here or in local universities, if you want to graduate as a PhD, you must publish an article in ISI or Scopus. I think even in Indonesia the same. So that sister, after she graduated and she got her PhD in this topic, she told me, Prof, I want to write an article with you on medicine or medical values in Islam. So I told her, okay. She went and she wrote 50 pages about ethics, akhlaq, values of a doctor, practices of doctor in Islam, a lot of information. And in fact, a summary or a shortened version of that article is published in Akwantan, in our journal of, I think, Science and Revelation. You can check it, it's there. So from that article, I found that there is a lot of material in our Islamic civilization. Our ulama of medicine, of tibb, from psychology, Ibn Sina, and other ulama, they talk a lot about the medical practices, the ethics, the education, the way how we teach it, the way how we treat. If our triple IT or our people or someone compile all this in a book, teaching medicine in Islam, they can provide you a great material. So I hope maybe Shukran is writing, maybe he can take this idea. Teaching medical science in Islam. Just go and check what our ulama did. Wonderful. I compared what that sister brought and what is in the medical education. Many things of medical education today mentioned by our ulama already. But we need to develop more. That's why I said from the beginning, there is a lot of work to be done. We need to focus. We need to know in each phase what we should do and what we should produce, and we move in phases. 30, 40 years, the other generation will see beautiful library of Islamization. So at that time, they will not ask this question. They will ask other questions. They will say Islamization and genetic engineering, Islamization and space, different world. But our concern today, even the last thing I want to say, even for Islamic economics, Islamic banking and finance, which we are giving today as an example of Islamization, I tell you, there is a long way to go to Islamize economics in our countries. A long way. My first background is in finance. So I know. After I studied Islamic studies, then civilization, then human science, I know. A long way to go. It looks like you have a very sophisticated mainstream system and you are just touching the superficial. But we will go for it. We need a vision. That's why I was always saying when I talk in Islamization, I say what you are seeing today as products of Islamization, it's done because of our vision of our ulama 30 years ago, from Al-Faruqi to Abu Sulaiman to Al-Attas to all these people. That's their vision 30 years. But today, we need another vision of next 30 years for Islamization, so that we will be really understanding what's going on and we integrate this in our teaching, in our education. The generation will understand that there is a challenge in the future. Thank you very much.